Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. All right, good evening, family. Once again, Friday evening. And things aren't going live, things aren't happening. But anyway, we'll get that worked out.
No. Okay. Guys, this is why you need to get on Matilda TV.
Okay, Mel's telling you Matilda TV, because Facebook are going to be getting honky.
Yeah, we're off Stop the Rot, sorry.
Are we?
Yep. It won't
No, Stop the Rot.
It's not on Stop the Rot. Well, I can't.
Bastards.
Yep.
All right. We got more things to concentrate on that, guys, because as we say, you know, I'm always saying we've done a remarkable job. Well, guess what? I'm just wondering, I don't know if we got a poll in tonight or not, but
yeah, we have.
We have, yeah. I'm just wondering, how many people do you think may fall for this next pandemic? Now, understanding that the idea from them guys is this is meant to be the real pandemic. Okay, they are meant to have a bit of a dig at us, okay, which they are doing already, guys, as we know. So, how many people do you think, you know what I mean, are just going to fall for it? Well, you know, I think
21 to 40% at the moment's winning.
How is it?
21 to 40%.
Okay, well, it's a lot of sad people that are going to be walking into this thing again. But that's what they're pushing, guys. So around the traps, they are really, you know, this is ABC Health. New COVID-19 variant pretty much everywhere in Australia. Yeah, it's just a fear porn. They just, you know, they just do not change the way they do things, man. Like, now I haven't looked too much into this, but I've been hearing about it all day. Microsoft users told to act now or lose all their passwords. So anyone actually using Microsoft, I do suggest you probably have a look into that. Bob Dan Industries is working okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Stop the Rot's not going.
Okay. They're not happy. Yeah, I've got heaps of things on that page, guys. They keep whacking me all the time, you know. Anyway, that's just what they do, isn't it? Okay, corruption watchdog admits to mishandling complaint. Once again, you know, and this is a corruption watchdog, guys. This is why, you know, we got to change things. But we are. All right, we're doing really well. Now, I think this is in England, but it's the Independent, but Haribo, and they look like little oops, where are we? It's a recall, guys, but they look like little sort of Coke bottles. You know what the Coke bottles look like, the fizzy Coke bottles, like that. But they're apparently, yeah, some people fell ill and they found out that they were in the Netherlands. That they were covered in cannabis. So anyway, it might be a Netherlands thing. But if you can buy, if anyone's buying Haribo, be careful, don't give it to kids. Okay, 3 million Aussies about to be hit by 2.5 billion debt increase. So as I say, they had nothing left to get, guys, so they had to come at you with your future earnings stuff, you know what I mean? And this is just the mongrels that they are. So yeah, we've had a good week, I think, guys. It's been a great week. I think just come in whenever you're ready, Kazza, and Jack if she's there. But yeah, I think it's been a great week.
Yeah, now we got Jack.
Yeah, cool. To just letting you people know that we've got people behind the scenes winning or making ground. You know what I mean? We got people that aren't giving up. Here's one of them now, Jackie. So she'll give us a roundup tonight on what they're up to, where they need help, what's going on. And this is what it's all. This is how we do it, guys. All right, by getting everybody together. All right, and we all work together. All right, and we can do this. How are you, Jack?
We got this.
We got this.
We got this. Absolutely.
Bring it on, baby.
Hey?
Bring it on, baby.
Bring it on. We're not standing down. No way. Well, yeah, firstly, I covered on, I went over last night with Jody Lowe, is his name. He wanted to support Dr. Beverly and Dr. Valerie. So I sort of, I went over with him the importance, the significance, look, of both of these ladies, actually, because they are just absolute legends fighting for all Australians. And their cases are, they're live matters that are going on. This is not, I keep having a go at this. I do not understand how Australians have donated $128,000 to Monica Schmidt's hypothetical case that in the it will never win, because in order to prove Daniel Andrews guilty of anything, they would have to prove mens rea, but that he did everything with intent, which we know damn well he did. But try and prove that in a court.
Kazza, Jackie can't hear us, but
can you hear me, Jack?
Yeah, just.
All right.
Maybe you need to yell.
Yeah. Okay, Monica's pulled out. She's took the go on, take the money and run. Do. Go on, take the money and run.
Apparently, look, I will just say, hopefully she will do the right thing, because she, someone was saying to me, she said she would refund the money.
Okay.
So whether or not, if the case didn't go ahead. So let's hope she honours her word. But look, this is what I'm trying to express or emphasise to Australians. You're happy to donate $128,000 to a case that, in the unlikely event it did win, would absolutely do nothing to alter the situation that we are in with the corruption. It's no good going after the puppets. Sure, it'd be a bit of gratification. They'd be wrapped over the wrists, but Dr. Valerie and Dr. Pearce are fighting in the courts. They have got live matters, and their matters will have a effect across the nation. So in particular, Dr. Beverly's one at the moment, which is the Section 109, we are just, Rod Culleton's and Dr. Beverly both had their matters heard at a directions hearing in the High Court on the 9th of April. I know I've gone over this, probably I'm repeating myself, and he remitted it to both of their matters to the Federal Court of Australia. The matters have to go back to the High Court, because both of those matters, the remedy they both seek in their cases is to invalidate state acts. And the Federal Court of Australia does not have the jurisdiction to do that. Oh, where can we donate, Jackie? I will put up Dr. Beverly's. Have you got? Oh, thank you, Caz.
Okay, so you can hear Caz, but you can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can, but you're both very faint, and I think I speak extra loud. Sometimes I always listen back to what I've said to make sure I haven't made any mistakes. Am I speaking very loudly?
No, you're right. No, we're just
good,
having, yeah,
because
you
I
just
know
can't hear us real well. I think you need hearing aids, actually, Jackie. Yeah, you're talking fine.
No, it's only when I'm on with you guys. And everything else, the volume's up a lot louder, so who knows? But look, I'd like to just let Australians know that what is occurring, even though the matters were remitted to the Federal Court of Australia, they have to go back up to the High Court. The High Court is the only court in this country that can give them the remedy they seek. So in Dr. Valerie's matter, it is pertaining to, of course, where the states mandated vaccines within the Public Health Acts. I don't think you want me to go over all the Section 109 again, but really briefly, the Federal Fair Work Act is a federal act that governs the employee-employer relationship across this country. No state act can interfere with the employee-employer relationship in the workplace. No state act whatsoever. Yet the Public Health Acts did, and it was unconstitutional. So that this is where the Section 109 is. So this is the thing. Pioneering work is being done in this country, and for us to have these amazing people standing up in the court. So this is a precedent that will go down in our history. It is the first time that lay people have ever accessed the High Court of Australia without legal representation.
And they wouldn't be liking that.
This is an absolutely massive achievement. And to the best of my knowledge, everyday lay people cannot access the highest court in their land anywhere in the world. So this is historical, that lay people are actually in the High Court. And it's very difficult to get into the High Court, even for those in the legal fraternity. So this is, the steps were that, Dr. Beverly and Rod, they lodged their matters into the High Court, and the High Court read over the matters and filed them. So that is massive in itself, because their screening process, they look for, if cases aren't up to the standard or the requirements, or if they're frivolous, vexatious or ill-conceived, the High Court would not accept them. So this is the High Court is not corrupt because it actually accepted these cases. And even Justice Beach-Jones made the incorrect decision of remitting them without fully understanding the relevance of the Federal Court of Australia not having territorial operation. The High Court still accepted these cases, and even he said they have got a prospect of success. So the arguments are, the arguments are sound, and the case is always created that there is no emotion in the matters. There is no subject matter or merit that is gone into. The cases are based strictly on constitution, High Court case law, and sometimes using the High Court case law from the United States, High Court of England, Canada, what have you. So that is how the arguments are constructed. So a precedent has been set in Australia's history. Never before has a self-represented layperson been into the High Court without legal representation. So, as I said, this really is pioneering, and I think Australians have hope because the people have the court back. These people have gotten into the court. So,
well, we just got to hope that we get the judge that makes the right decision for us. Yeah, that's great, Jackie. Great.
Yeah, look, it's the Section 109 matter is I cannot see how they could possibly get out of it. I mean, when you are taking a Section 109, which is inconsistency of laws, being a law of the state invalid if it is inconsistent with a federal law, and there's just reams of High Court case law outlining how it's done. So an inconsistency is if the Federal Act has clearly expressed or written, and it is clearly written in the Federal Fair Work Act that this act is to the exclusion of any state industrial law, the definition of which the health acts meet, because they put conditions and regulations into the workplace. So there's no escaping that. And a direct inconsistency is if a state act stops it stops the operation of a federal act. And that is exactly what happened. All of the state acts across this country stopped the Federal Fair Work Act operating because nobody was allowed to go to work if they weren't vaccinated. And that was a requirement put into a state act. Like, it's clear. So this is the other thing. It's important that Australians, I have put it out there. Have I sent her matter to you, Caz?
Yes, I've got the release here, Dr. Beverley's. I've got the press release here.
It's just this is the other thing. I put it on some of my. I've only got Facebook and bloody Instagram, and I tell you, all I'm seeing is ads. I'm barely getting anyone's posts. I don't see anything except stupid ads anymore. But it's important for people to be able to read these cases too. So have a read through it, and you'll get your head around the arguments. They're pretty simple, and it's got the High Court case law in there, which is the grounds of her argument. So people read through her matter. This is a live matter, and she needs support. She needs financial support, as does her sister. So we're actually going to, with the Give, Send, Go, because they've each got their own, and it's a little bit too much for people to donate into both. So I'm going to ask the lady who started up these Give, Send, Goes to put it in both the twin sisters' names. So it'll be for both Dr. Valerie and Dr. Beverley. So get behind Dr. Beverley. Yep. The outcome, when she wins, this will stop the states ever having control like this again, and it's the biggest control mechanism they had.
They're trying to do that right now. So, yeah, it's exactly what they're trying to do, is get the control back in. So, yeah, okay, brilliant. Gaza.
Well, no, I was just going to say that a guy called Andrew Smith, I think his name is, he has actually launched a petition in the High Court which challenges the legitimacy of the 2022 and the 2025 federal election. So he's actually said that Section 352 and Section 360, but he's outlined all of the broken promises, as part of saying you just can't get up there and lie and win an election and not do it. It makes it illegitimate. So very interesting. But then on top of that, you've got all of these kinds of things. Like there's still a lot of questions to be asked about the recent election, because you've got this story here. Now, this is a town, and the AEC are investigating themselves, right? Ha ha. But the most of the polls, when they went in, they said, "Oh, you only had to write 1 to 6." So they did on both ballot papers, and so most of them were basically rendered not valid. So this town's up in arms about it. But we're seeing awful lot of anomalies. They're slowly dripping out in the paper, or in the media. So it's very interesting.
It's very, very interesting, mate. It's coming apart. The stitching's coming out at the seams. And here they are trying to do a rapid stitch to try and pull in as many more gullible people as they can. They're just freaking criminals, man.
Look, I wonder if this guy's. Something came across my feed about this High Court challenge. We'll go in and have a little look into that and see exactly what they're arguing. But one of the main arguments that should be put forward if you are challenging the elections is that, to the best of my knowledge, the Australian Electoral Commission isn't a part of government. It is actually a foreign-owned corporation now. But I do have to check on that. And if that is the case, then the whole thing is it's invalid. The whole thing.
Mm.
It's crazy. This is what we seem to be uncovering. APRA and the Australian Medical Board exposed themselves in, or APRA, within Dr. Beverley's case. They have actually stated in writing that APRA is not a part of government. That means they are a corporation. So the Australian Health Practitioners Regulatory Authority is a private corporation, and private corporations have got no authority to administer law.
That's the problem. Everything in this country is a private corporation. That's exactly our problem, mate, because nothing is right it should be.
And this is what we need to correct. So I sent off my my draft of this Solemn League and Covenant off to Dick Yardley and to Wayne Glue to get their learned opinions and just make sure everything was worded correctly.
Cool.
So that's another thing to get that done. And this will sort of I just hope we can get millions of Australians on board and make this as much of a renowned and historical document as the ones in the past have been. That a lot of
millions are waking up. Whether millions react or not, that's a different story. But millions are waking up. So it's our job to make them, understand that they need to react. People.
One of the questions that I've got for you. So we had Tim on last night, and he said that we'll be swearing an oath, and it seems that we'll be swearing an oath to King Charles, but the problem I've got with that is that, I think you might have said Queen Victoria, because that's when it.
Yeah, he was going right back.
Oh yes.
Yeah, but the problem
we were
that
going
I've got
3
is that
steps backwards to go 5 steps forward, is what it was.
Yeah, but I think the concerning part about that is that Charles, when he was here, went to the patents office, and we're kind of a bit. It's a bit obscure what he did there, but also he's just gone to Canada and given back the whole of Canada to the
and
native
he gave
title.
Us an egg timer, and he gave us an egg timer.
What did he do in Canada?
He. Let me get it exactly right. I'll word it exactly right, but he's basically handed it back to the nation. So
back to the
he just
individual provinces. Yeah.
Yeah, that Canada sits unceded. Canada sits on unceded land. No treaty, no transfer, no legitimacy. He just called Canada terra nullius from the capital itself. Translation: the Crown never owned it. The state is built upon a lie, just like the monarchy. That means Canada is wide open legally and politically and geopolitically.
That's what that was his speech.
Was that his speech, Caz?
Yeah.
No. That's just what somebody's written here.
Oh, the summary.
So,
we need to get the wording on that exactly, because Australia's in exactly the same boat.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw that somewhere, and he was actually in front of people, actually declaring that. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Here it is. Let's have a listen.
I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded territory of the Algonquin
Too soft.
people. This land acknowledgement is a recognition of shared history as a nation. While continuing to deepen my own understanding, it is my great hope that in each of your communities and collectively as a country, a path is found toward truth and reconciliation in both word and deed.
Hang on, just give me a sec.
That we are gathered on the unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. This land acknowledgement is a recognition of shared history as a nation. While continuing to deepen my own understanding, it is my great hope that in each of your communities and collectively as a country, a path is found toward truth and reconciliation in both word and deed. Also, if we start writing encouragement.
So there you go.
It's very, very interesting. I don't know the ramifications of that. I'll have to look into it. The same would be applicable here. So you've got to look at this from two angles as well, is that we, all of us that are born here, I mean, my families came out in the late 1700s. They were on the first boats out here. So, and regardless of it, anyone that's born here in Australia is considered a sovereign of this country. So it could work well in that way as, for us as well. And to get rid of this government.
We've got to do something. You've got this situation. Now, this is a lady who was in court today. And what had apparently happened is she was challenging the council rates, and they wanted her to go by video link. She decided not to go by video link. She wanted to actually have her matter heard in court. She was videotaping it, and this is what happened.
If I believe that there's a crime being committed, I actually destroy it. There are recordings, some of it, it was better. I don't care about that. We are living men and women here.
I'll go to the part where... Did they grab her?
Don't touch her. Don't touch her property and don't touch her.
This is a court.
You are hands up. You are assaulting that lady.
Unreal, man.
You are assaulting that lady. You are assaulting her. Get your hands
Look, I'm unsure about...
You can't even arrest me.
Anyway, we'll just basically leave that there.
And that was because she refused to stop filming.
Yeah, but that's already been ruled on because it's under the Communications Act. We're actually allowed to record. So
it's under the Open Courts Act as well. The Open Courts Act allows for the public to be able to view matters. Unless, of course, there's only very special exclusions, if it's a sensitive matter involving a child, for example, or rape or something like that. There are only very few circumstances where the public aren't allowed into court cases. But you can, of course, record if you think a crime has been committed. Look, we are in really, really interesting times, and it is just showing what a crisis we are in at the moment. So I do understand where they're coming from with the living man and woman, etc., but I don't know how well those carry in law. The main thing is that we are sovereigns and we are the people, we are the power. I tell you, there are so many
going them all different ways, but this is keeping them on
Yes, that's right. And I take my hat off. I do. Yeah. I applaud anybody trying in every way they know how, the best way they know how.
They charged her with assault by the look of it.
They charged her with assault?
So Steve Carter's saying, yeah.
What, for defending herself? Everything is just upside down at the moment, as we know. World's gone crazy.
Yeah, she wasn't even the one filming.
Yeah, no, that's it. Actually, and Rod Cullerton, he's done something on the Torrens title as well.
There has been a serious asset grab that has unlawfully been undertaken for quite some time. And
anyway, look, I won't go into it because we've got you on, but the long and short of it is that they showed the video of the police coming onto the properties and somebody had actually just independently written it off, and it's not supposed to. Under the Torrens Act is what he's talking about. No, it's actually, there's a process to go through, and now he's talking about holding these bureaucrats accountable because it's been found in their favour. So, or against them in the favour of the holders, the landholders. But he also said with the digitisation, it's going to be very easy to transfer these titles over.
And look who owns the titles office. Foreign corporation.
Yeah, we know.
This is other than people fighting in the courts, etc. This is why I think we need to do this solemn league and covenant. We, the people, need to.
Let's get into that, Jackie. Let's just have the flyers because we've got a lot on this weekend. They go for 2 minutes, and then we'll come back in and we'll get into the because I'm interested in that one as well. So let me just bring this on. Mondays at Maggie's crew is calling for tools down. It's time to stand together. A corrupt and tyrannical government is crushing industries, stripping freedoms and silencing voices. This affects every worker and every business. New South Wales under a corrupt government. Enough is enough. We won't stay silent and we demand action. So join us every Monday at the Governor's House in Sydney at 11 a.m. And on Mondays, don't forget Mondays at Maggie's, the Frank and Charles podcast. They will be hitting the streets this week. Mondays at Maggie's. And there is a call out to put Forests of the Fallens outside of the courthouses across the nation. And there is a court call out for court support for friend of the show Rocco in Rocco versus New South Wales Police for victimless charges. This will be on the 3rd of the 6th of the 25th at Burwood. And in Victoria, we have the following events. In Melbourne, gather at the Governor's every Saturday to end the tyranny. 10 a.m. every Saturday at the Governor Gates. Leave Our Kids Alone are having a public gathering at the office of Jacinta Allen, 140 Mollison Street, Bendigo, on Friday the 6th of June at 12 p.m. And there is an urgent call to action. Dr. Beverly Peers is challenging the validity of state acts and the corporation policies forcing vaccination to be able to work. Her matter affects all Australians, and if successful, the states have lost their strongest control tactic over the people. Please support her in this fight for all Australians. And join the Justice of the People in Melbourne every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. for a remembrance at the Shrine of Remembrance, lest we forget. The premiere of the international award-winning documentary Dissection will be at the Sparrowland Short Film Festival in Melton, Brisbane this Saturday, May 31st. Book for Section 2 at 1:30 p.m. $15 for tickets, and they are available, and there are trains close by. A daily prayer space is held on X at 3 p.m. So whatever you're facing, come along and we can lift you up in prayer. Every day, 3 p.m. on X. Melissa 14623
And as we just coming back in, guys, you know, we've been showing you about the camping and everything, you know what I mean, and you know, going to sleep on the Crown land and this sort of shit, you know what I mean. Well, Victoria, you got about 80,000 prospectors down there. You know, you can go out in the west and look for a bit of gold, you know what I mean? Maybe, you know, find a nugget here or there and make a few bucks, or, you know, just a sidekick or whatever for enjoyment. Well, guess what? As from October the 1st, yeah, here it is, 234% fee hike, guys. 234%. Are these clowns serious or what?
They're pushing us to reclaim our land. I'm telling you, everything is pointing to that. As I said, this has been, in particular, over the past 5 years, an IQ test and a tolerance test, and quite frankly, they are shitting in our faces. They're not hiding anything more. They are blatantly sabotaging us. Our government has been usurped, and we must take it over. Or we must get rid of it, I should say. Let me phrase that correctly. We must get rid of the corrupt government. The seats of government will still remain, but all of those involved with any of the corruption and sell out of our land need to go. And those that remain must swear their constitutional oaths correctly.
They need to do a snaggle puss, and they need to exit stage left.
Absolutely, they do. Look, I've based this I sent through to you, Caz, just for you, just for you personally to have a look at. But I've always had a passion to get this country back, and I've been like in the background learning Constitution for nearly 30 years now. So I've always had a great passion to get this country back, and it's distressing as it is for all of us to watch our country just go downhill. So I started to have a little bit further look into the Ulster, and I knew my forefathers. This is why I always say I wish to acknowledge and show my respect to my forefathers. and I say our forefathers as well, because every single one of us will have had forefathers that have fought against tyranny and fought for the people. But in my last, just over the last week, I've had even more of a fire in my belly, because I have just realised that they have been involved in many, many very key documents that have got a lot of political weight and have been used over nearly the last, well over 700 years. The Declaration of Arbroath in 1320, that was one of my forefathers. The right to resist tyranny and people were the source of sovereignty. The National Covenant in 1638, that was James Graham. He was the first Marquis of Montrose. He's one of my forefathers. He was involved in the National Covenant, which was the defence of the Scottish Church and lawful resistance to the King. Now, Solemn League and Covenant was in 1643. That was the Anglo-Scottish Treaty, lawful unity under God's law. Then we had the Claim of Right Act in Scotland, 1689. They were involved with that, which was the sovereignty of the people and lawful limits on monarchy. Then we had the Acts of Union in 1707, which was the treaty between the two kingdoms, Scotland and England. Preserved legal traditions being constitutional. So apparently they were all, my forefathers were involved with the creation and implementation and were original signatories on all of those documents. So sure. The American Declaration of Independence was also based on the work beforehand, and my understanding is so has been our Constitution, has been based, on Magna Carta and all of this. These are now archived and very ancient documents that have the basis of law for the people, against tyranny. So these are what have been used over the centuries for people to sign and have their say. So hence, this is why I've got the Solemn League and Covenant. And when I started doing this a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't aware of all of this. So it's actually just blowing my mind. It's in my DNA. This is in my blood. I really am. I'm absolutely gobsmacked to find out what they were involved with. And of course they were involved in lots of different wars, standing up always against tyranny, always for justice and always for the law to be upheld and for the people to be considered the highest. We were sovereign and no one was to walk over us. So this is where this, I've designed the Solemn League and Covenant for the people of the Commonwealth based on these ancient documents that they're under glass in museums. They are still held in such high esteem for the basis of true law and constitutions and how it should be upheld, with people being the power and the sovereignty. There can be no tyranny. But within this, the Solemn League and Covenant is not to be swearing our oath to Queen Victoria and her successors. This is for us as the people we are reclaiming. It's not a revolution, it is a reclamation of what has been stolen from us. So this is the thing we are going into. I looked into equity and trust law, etc. So everywhere you see the Commonwealth mentioned in the Constitution refers to the trust. So when they're talking about the land of the Commonwealth, the resources, the land, etc. So we are the beneficiaries. Everything belongs to us. Now, the government are simply the executors and the trustees of the Commonwealth. Now, they have failed dismally. They have absolutely breached their duty. So they are guilty. They're guilty of treason. We know this. Fraud and theft and subjugation of powers. So this is. Do you want me to read this through quickly? I think I've already done that on this channel, though, haven't I?
We don't have time for it, Jack. We're at
So this is the
40.
thing. This is basically just saying that we have. We are now asserting that we have come of age, and we recognise we are no longer we're no longer the minors, but we are sovereign and we are responsible stewards of the land. And in trust law, a trustee, and the government is the trustee, who violates the trust must be removed. So it's our lawful and moral duty to protect our inheritance. This is really what this is about. It's a reclamation, not just of the Commonwealth, but to reinstate lawful governance under the Constitution. So it's a peaceful and lawful restoration of order. It's not a rebellion as such. And it is outlining how we're going to redress everything lawfully. This is not, we are not asking for anything. These are demands, basically. We are saying our intent. This is our declaration. And if we can get millions of people to sign this, this will hold up. This will be very, very powerful.
Well, let's move it along and see what we can do then.
Let's get it out. I'm excited for it. Jackie, can you email that if it's finished? Can you email that to me, please?
I've just got to wait for Tim and I've sent it off to Tim as well. I wanted Tim to look over it, but yeah, this is the thing. Tim and I are on the same page with everything. I liked what he said, but there's a few things that we need. I'm not in agreement with, which that doesn't mean anything, but. I've spoken with Dick Yardley and Wayne Glue.
To come together so we can sort all
We do need to come together. The Constitution does not need to be changed or altered. It is fine in its state. We don't need to fix something that's not broken. And we don't need to swear our allegiance to Queen Victoria or King Charles and all their heirs and successors.
Everyone's got different ideas, and we need all these different ideas, and we all need to attack.
Absolutely we do. And I loved everything Tim said the other night. They were just the two things that I wasn't in agreement with. But other than that, everything.
And it's funny, isn't it, synchronicity? Because you have Grahams in your family line, as well, like Dave's obviously Graham. But also when Jackie showed me the document, this is a bit of interesting information. I looked at it and I said, "Oh, that's my family shield up the top there." And anyway, so it looks like Jackie and I are related. So,
wow.
So that's the red hand on the shield, and that's because
that's right.
King Niall had about 13 sons or something, and so his challenge to pick his heir and successor was to do a boat race, and the first hand to touch the shore would win. And so one of the younger sons was being beaten by the older one, so he cut off his hand and he threw it to the shore. And because his father's word was sovereign, he can't go back on his word. So that's how he inherited the kingdom.
Because that's the hand on the Ulster, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the Ulster Solemn League and Covenant, yeah. Very interesting stuff.
It is. All right, let me just, we're being taken out by an angel being recorded on Jason Upton's Fly album. A really interesting story, very inspiring story, and I thought we might need a bit of extra inspiration. So, Jack, if you'd like to have some final words, and Dave can wrap up and close the show.
I think get behind these documents. I will collaborate with Tim and see what he's putting out there. And I guess both Tim and I need to go under the advice of our constitutional experts in this country, not the legal ones, the self-taught ones like Wayne Glue, Dick Yardley, etc. We'll get this document together for all Australians to sign. It will be very, very powerful. And get behind Dr. Beverly and Dr. Valerie in their court challenges, please. Thanks, guys. We are the power. Let's get this back.
We are, and you guys know you are, and I think you're learning more and more each week, guys, that the time is coming for you to reclaim your power and actually use it, all right, for good. So, look, all I got to say, guys, is we've tried to show you this week where we are. We're in a little bit of strife, all right, but as I said, we've got a great team out there. All right, we just need to fill up the stadium, guys. We need the stands full, okay? All right, because, there are some good players on the field. If you want to come on, come on. But if you don't, we just need you backing us up. We need you in the stands, cheering us on, sending the email here, sending this email there. We'll go on the front line. That's cool. Okay, but we need you with us, guys. That's what we need. So have a great weekend. Get out to all the events that are on. Go and do your bit. Keep the conversation going, okay? Because, guys, they're coming with the next rollout. They're coming with the next pandemic. They're going to try. Good night.
Don't comply.
No, do not.
You're under the Fair Work Act. Don't let them stop you going to work ever again. People should know that now. Hopefully the non-compliance will get us through, guys.
Good night.
We just started playing, and it got to the point where it got so thick in there that I jumped off stage and I went and jumped under the soundboard. I mean, I felt so much God. I was like, oh my God, at any minute something's just going to bust through. And all of a sudden this little kid comes under the soundboard. He goes, there's a 12-foot angel standing behind Jason Upton. And you know what? I know I wasn't singing because I wasn't up there. William wasn't singing. Jason's singing, but there's 2- and 3-part harmonies going on in the room. And I'm going, what in the world? And I'm looking on the hard drive recorder and it's recording it. And I'm thinking, if this is on here when I play this back, I'm going to come out of my skin. So the next morning, I'm thinking, was that real? I went back to Nashville. And I'm in there with this engineer friend. I was producing the project. And sitting on there, we're going through all the material. We get to the song Fly. And all of a sudden, I thought, well, any minute now, if that was really an angel. And all of a sudden, there's this perfect voice that comes flying. I went, whoa! And I said, we got to find that. And the engineer goes, oh, that's just a psychoacoustic anomaly. That's probably a tom-tom ring or something. And so I thought, oh, yeah? Well, let's find it then. So we start going through, we start soloing out each channel, not a tom-tom, not a keyboard, blah, blah, blah. We get through everything except Jason's vocal. Now remember, the kid said there's a 12-foot angel behind Jason. So we solo Jason's vocal track, and there's 2 waveforms on there. One little one and one big, big one. And you can see it, and not only that, but you can hear it, and the guy goes, well, that sounds like something standing like 12 foot behind Jason. I said, I told you it was an angel.
So